Hey, lovely people. I hope you guys are having a good day today. So today we are going to be talking about P Valley, and I'm really going to focus around Derek and Keyshawn's relationship, and we're going to discuss the abuse in the relationship. So I decided to break it down in four main topic points. So it's the start of the abuse, fear leaving, realizing you need to get out, and actually leaving. But keep in mind that leaving is not always so easy. So, just a quick recap on me with P Valley. Um, I had been hearing about P Valley. I heard amazing things about the show. I heard that it was something that I need to get into. One of my friends, she would talk about the show a lot and be like, girl, you need to get into this show. And I'm just like, man, I don't want to watch it. I I'm interested, but then I'm like, low key, I'm not gonna watch. I don't want to watch it because a lot of times I fall off with television shows, like with dramas or comedies. Like I fall off, like a lot of times I fall off, and so funny story, like on the 4th of July, being at one of my friends' house. Well, it was right before the 4th, and they were barbecuing or whatever. So once they got done barbecuing or whatever, and it was late, and they come in and they start watching P Valley. So I'm like, oh shit, like let me start looking at my phone. Like I don't want to watch this. Like what's going on? So they end up watching P Valley, and it was episode 4. So this was right before the episode with Keyshawn and we got her backstory. So I actually watched P Valley backwards. And y'all, tell me if anybody else does this, because I do it a lot. I watch a lot of stuff backwards. I watched my first Harry Potter movie was the last one. Like for real. It wasn't the last one, but it was definitely Hollows Part 1. And when I watched that, I said, oh my gosh, I want to watch part 2. And then I went on from there and I just watched different little movies, but I did not really watch it in sequence. So I am not always a sequence watcher. But I watched the episode and we got to Keyshawn's backstory on the episode 5. And when I tell you guys, I was so mesmerized, and it just caught it kept me so engaged, and I was like, oh my god, like dang, like this is a really good show. This is a really good show. And it what who is Keyshawn? How did this girl get here? Like it had me asking a lot of questions, and I wanted to know what was going on. So we are going to start here with the start of the abuse. So from P Valley season 1, we do see Keyshawn. We see a lot of worried looks and unspoken words. And I don't know if you guys have ever been in a situation where you have been abused or you know someone that is abused. And a lot of times that's how the story starts for the people that are outside of the relationship. We see bruises or we see certain things, and people just push them off as, oh, this was this. I bumped into a wall, I bumped into a cabinet, and it goes from there. And we are originally thinking like, okay, well, the first time you hear it, okay, they did bump into a cabinet. And then the second time you see a bruise and they bumped into a wall. Okay. Hmm. And when you see it for the third time, if you don't ask it out loud, you probably thinking to yourself, did that person really just accidentally do that to themselves? Are they that accident prone to where this is happening, or is something else going on? But we are going to start with episode 5 of season 2, where it shows how the abuse actually starts. So we see Keyshawn at this point in time, like she's pregnant by Derrick. Like they had sex in the back of the car after their first date with going to the prom. And it seems like from there, that's when she got pregnant with her first baby. And we see her, she's like laid up on the couch, feet up, resting, and they are getting prepared for the baby. They're preparing everything for the baby. And we see Derrick, he has like these birthing cloths and or Bill. And so I might call it. But we see, he's pulling out these items saying like, oh, my mom got this, or, my friend got that. And so Keyshawn is like, oh, this is ugly. I don't like this. And if you were gonna get something, you could have at least got something that was on my registry, which I could understand. Like, just don't give me anything. When it comes to people and they in certain predicaments, I can understand when they can give what they can give. That's understandable. Like, I might not be able to give much, but I am going to try to give you something. But here we are, and we are seeing that these are well-to-do, well-off people. Like, this isn't just somebody that's coming from the trailer park. His family has money, they're wealthy. So it's kind of disrespectful to Keyshawn, to the mother, not to give her what's on her registry. It's like, I'm just going to hand you scraps, and it is what it is. To me, it's like they were showing like, oh, okay, well, we know that this baby is coming there. We don't want this baby, but I'm just going to give you this here. And he's acting like she just supposed to jump up and down for joy and, oh my gosh, your mom bought these bibs and they are so beautiful. No, it don't work like that. It doesn't work like that. And so she was rightfully upset. She says like, she's taking care of them. Her dad put the down payment for the apartment they're living in. Like, what are you doing? And so that's where it starts. And he chokes her. And I mean, he chokes her. Like, it was crazy and it was intense. And I was like, oh my God, like, what the crap? Like, wow. Because I'm just thinking, and I mean, I'm like, when I'm watching the show originally, they were like, she's getting abused by a white guy. And I'm like, a white guy. And so we end up watching that episode, and I'm like, damn, this is fucking crazy. And then it makes you feel another kind of way because, and I'm not saying like abuse is not right on any type of form, like at all. But with us in our history and him being white and her being black, and then especially with her being of a darker tone, it's a little more disturbing. It's like just a tad bit. It's like a little icing on the cake. It's crazy, but hey, big ups to the writers, because I mean, they really did it, because it really makes you think. It brings like a whole nother element into this abuse, like into this abusive relationship. So he chokes her for dear life, and somehow clearly she escapes and she returns home. But that's where the abuse started. And he came in like he was this knight in shining armor. But what we do see is that before Derrick actually puts his hands physically on Keyshawn, aka Miss Mississippi, we see red flags. So the first red flag that we see, and this is in the flashback, keep in mind, we're still on season 2, because like we have to go back to where it actually began, and so we see where it began in season 2, episode 5. Now we see Keyshawn, and she is trying out for the cheerleading squad, and she tries to make this move, and she fails at the move, falls on her face, and so she's falling on her face. Next thing is, and we are seeing like this beautiful scenery, and she's like looking up at the sky, and then we see this guy, and he's a handsome guy. I mean, Derrick, he's all right. So I mean, he all right. He's to each his own. He's a nice looking guy. But she sees this guy, and he's reaching his hand out to help her get up. But then, it's the same guy that was help lifting her up. And my problem is this right here. To me, the first red flag that I saw was he let her fall flat on her face on the ground. I mean, I don't know if that always happens, like, because I never was a cheerleader, and I never really got into that other than, like, watching Bring It On, and that was about it, like, I promise. But he let her fall, like, straight on her face. Like, I think they possibly could have tried to help her before she just, like, fell on the ground, but they just moved out the way. When she fell, they moved back and just let her fall. But maybe that's protocol, I don't know. But he does help her up, and he's like, oh, okay. So that's the first sign of, oh, like, thank you, that's nice. So she's getting that like little sense of, and she goes, and her sister or her stepsister is trying out as well, so she like nails the performance, and everybody's praising her or whatever. And she goes and she sits down on the bench. And so then we have this other guy. And keep in mind, he's like the same skin tone as Keyshawn. And maybe he might have been a little lighter, but I don't know. I think he might have been a little darker. I can't really remember. But they are in like the same skin complexion, the same area. And so low-key, he tried to flirt with her. And then she's not giving him back what he wants, so he called her a burnt chicken. And he goes on to say something about her. So then Derrick steps in, and here he comes again. He's stepping in, and he's coming to save the day. Like, he's coming to save this girl, supposedly save her, to help her out. And the other guy, he said something to him, whatever, and you could tell, like, the anger and the rage in his face, that he was finna mess something up. But he decided to turn around and go the other way until the dude spits on him. Now the dude spit on him, and oh my God, it's just like giving you Pumpkin and New York vibes from Flavor of Love, and it's disgusting. Ugh, I can't stand it. But that's a pet peeve. But I don't like stuff like that. It's not even if it's a mistake, it still disgusts me. Like, but anyway, so he spit on him, and rightfully so. He beat his ass, and so he don't only beat his ass, he beat the other two dudes' ass too. Once he beat their ass, he comes back and he beat the other dude some more. Now, to me, how he fought them, that was a red flag. So we are coming across red flag number 2. That's the second red flag. But then, to me, it's almost like the red flags are disguised by these so-called acts of kindness. You understand? So it's like a manipulation tactic to get you hooked. And he goes on, and they see each other, whatever, and he doesn't get suspended. Nothing happens to Derrick. And that's an interesting thing, We have to keep this in mind until we get to the end. But he does not get suspended for what he did to those dudes. He beat the out those dudes. And to me, for how it went down, I feel like something should have happened to him too. And it wasn't just because he was on the cheerleading squad either. It wasn't because Derrick is white and those other boys are black. So that wasn't just it. We see Keyshawn and her home life. So we see her and her stepmom and her two stepsisters. So pretty much it's given like a Cinderella vibe, because the whole episode from this particular episode was given like a fairy tale. It's telling like a fairy tale story. So it's giving a Cinderella vibe. So she's the mean, evil stepmother, in which she is. Okay? She is the evil stepmother. Whew. It's like, it's not the Disney version, it's the Grimm brothers. What are their names? It's the Grimm brother, the brother Grimm. I'm sorry, y'all. Forgive me. Anybody that knows the name, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's the brother Grimm. She's their version of the evil stepmother. Okay, she's the real deal, the horror tale, not the fairy tale, the horror tale. Okay, because this is what this is. It's supposed to be a fairy tale, but it's a horror tale. Okay, but we see her home life, so she treating her like crap. She's supposed to be doing her daughter's hair, and then we see some colorist things going on and texturism vibes as well, because she puts like one daughter completely on the pedestal because she light skinned, she has this straight hair or whatever. The other daughter, we see she is light as well, but then she has like these, and not texturism necessarily, but featureism. Sorry, but she has more African features, like a wider nose, bigger lips. And sometimes those things can help people as long as you have like one of them. If you have two, then that's the problem. If you got a big nose and big lips, then that's the problem. But that's how it goes. That's society. It's fucked up, and we need to change. And I feel like it's slowly changing, but we're not gonna get on that in detail. It could be another video. But we see she burns her hair. Oh my God. My brother burned my hair off once like that, and it was in the front, playing with a crimping iron that goes on the stove. And it turned yellow. It turned gold, and it fell off. And my mom was so bad. But that was crazy. We see Keyshawn, she burns the hair. So, her stepmother scolds her. She scolds her. This is the thing, though. This is the difference. Like how I was saying with my brother, he burned my hair. We were playing, doing something we didn't have no business doing, and he burned my hair, and we got in trouble for it. It wasn't like, oh, he just got scolded. And because I should have had enough sense enough to not let him play in my hair, but I did. That's a different story. But she scalds Keyshawn for accidentally burning off her hair. She didn't do it intentionally. It was an accident. And it's like you could tell it's an accident, but she didn't care. And then she says, oh, it's her crowning glory and this and that. And we all already know that tale, but we know where she's going with that, with her type of mindset. She's backwards thinking. She's not a forward thinker. She's a backwards thinker. And we see that little piece. And so we're getting detail on like how she is coming up, and how we can see the two acts of kindness that Derrick did for Keyshawn and how it can help mold something when we have other things going on in our background at home, you know? And we see Keyshawn, and she's at school the next day, and her stepsister, once again, she's getting all this praise because she's like just a hot chick or whatever. But to me personally, like, Keyshawn is way cuter than her stepsister, but that's just my opinion. But whatever, she cuter than her stepsister, and I ain't trying to be like, oh, it's nothing like light against dark or nothing like that. I promise it, because what is that for real? But um, she that just off looks to me. You know, if we were gonna go, we whatever. But the other girl, she is pretty too. Don't get me wrong. Don't get me wrong. And I'm not trying to like put one against the other, but that's what we saw in the episode. So I just had to give my opinion on it. But we see them at school. So we see Gidget, and Gidget is the, what is it called? Gidget is the team captain. That's what it's called. And I'm gonna keep that in the video because I thought I tried to think of that shit. Is it the leader? Is it the? It was just all those things low key, but I couldn't think of it. But Gidget is the team captain, and they're sitting down there at lunch and they're talking about a prom. And man, this prom is so weird and it's crazy. I'm from the South, but then I didn't go to a mixed race school. So I went to a school where it was pretty much predominantly black. And like the first time we had someone white that graduated from my particular school that I graduated from. Well, it's Arthur Harold Parker High School. It's in Birmingham, Alabama. But the first time we did have somebody that was white that graduated the school, it like kind of made the news. It was in the newspaper, and I think it was on it. It made like a little segment of the news too. So I didn't go to a school where it was interracial. So I don't know how things like that really plays out. But then again, I do know people that have went to mixed race schools, and I've never heard of that necessarily happening. So I don't know if it's just dramatizing some of the racial things that can still go on in the South. And maybe it's because Chucalissa is such a small town as well, because even though, you know, other people from different cities might not think like Birmingham is that big, but Birmingham is like a bigger city compared to like a little small city like Chucalissa. So it's kind of a difference, but then hell, with Chucalissa getting their casino, they might be bigger than us. But that's neither here or there. Now, back to the story. Okay, you guys, I'm sorry. But we see them talking about this prom, and this prom, like I said, it's problematic because it's like a black prom and a white prom. And I guess because they got so many black students in their school, so now they separate the prom. And then for some strange reason, the prom for the white people is at a plantation. Okay, and we're going to get into that in a few seconds. But we see them talking about it, and so Gidget's just like, I'm not trying to go to their prom. I'm trying to go to y'all prom. I ain't trying to be worried about them stuck up ass people and them looking at me like, oh, you got your dress from so and so, and it didn't come from Saks and all that or whatever. And so she like, I ain't trying to be bothered with that, and I want to go to y'all prom. So I can understand that, you know, being coming from where she comes from, which is a trailer park. But, and it's nothing wrong with that either, but that's where she come from. But that's understandable on her end. And so we get a caution sign because in that scene, and I guess that could be a red flag too, but I would like to call it a caution sign because it's like not a warning, that's coming from the person directly that you're dealing with, but it's coming from someone else that knows them, and you don't, especially in the beginning when you don't really know them like that, and somebody else is telling you about them, and you not taking any heed to what they said. So Gidget refers to Derek, and she says that he's stuck up, and he's uppity, and he's this and he's that. But Keyshawn pays no mind to what he's saying, because he turned around, he trying to smile at her. And once again, coming with the caution sign is another veil. It's always like a wolf in sheep's clothing. A lot of times when you're dealing with abusers, it's like a wolf in sheep's clothing. It's crazy, but that's literally what it is. And I'm not saying every abuser, but a lot. It's a Jekyll and Hyde, like whatever you want to call it. That's what it is. It's somebody that's coming as one thing, and then in actuality they're another, and it's really disturbing. And once you find out like that they're this person, sometimes like it could be too late, like to the end, like because some people can find out that that's that person, that could be the end of them, but some people can find out that that's that person, and like just let it go off the bat. Some people see those red flags and they just like, oh no, this is not it. But sometimes people just brush those things off, and you can't always blame a person for that, because we're not always vigilant or in the moment. But when we come back and we think about it, and we think about what has transpired during this time and during with this particular individual, then we'll see like, damn, like they really pulled the wool over our eyes. Like they made me think this thing, and this was a whole nother thing. But along the way, I did see those caution signs. I did see those red flags. I saw the yield. I saw the stop, but I just wasn't paying any attention to it. Like sometimes we can see a red light and look at the green light that's ahead of it, and we're not paying attention to the red light that we're coming to right at that moment, you know? But we see the list comes out who made the cheerleading squad. So Keyshawn, she did make the team, and here comes Derek, and this doesn't come with a red flag necessarily. This moment didn't come with a red flag, so it was just one of those sheep moments, like where he's just coming as this sheep, and hey, I'm just I'm this. I'm not this person. I'm not this violent evil person. I'm this nice guy. Like, hey, it's messed up that you couldn't make the team. They have like this little conversation, and after school she ends up running in or walking into the rain or whatever. Like the rain catches her, like when she's walking home from school. Why isn't she getting a ride home from school? I don't know. I don't even know why she's not riding the bus. I don't know. But that's neither here or there. But it does go to show you that sometimes in certain people's story, and it's not necessarily some certain people's story, it could be a people in general, when you come across certain things in what we're talking about specifically with abuse or involving abuse, like we can see how certain aspects of our life that doesn't even involve the person that's going to end up abusing us can cause us to be in the situation that we're in. Not all the time, but sometimes. Not all the time, but sometimes a little bit. But we see Derek, and he pulls up in his nice little Prius, his chariot, to come and carry her and whisk her off away from the rain.
So he has helped her up after she fell. He's dusted her off after dirt is thrown on her. He holds her chin up when she doesn't make the cheerleading squad, and now he's coming and saving her in his chariot and shielding her from the rain. This is crazy. I mean, you would think that, oh my gosh, like these are things that's going to end up being a beautiful story, and it turns into literally what Beyonce would say, a beautiful nightmare. But that's just how life goes for real, and that's why I like this show, because even though some of the things I feel like it's a little, I'm not gonna say a little, but it's dramatized, and then it's with the Montavious, I guess fantasy, and then it depends on fantasy depending on who you're talking to. Like with me, I'll more so say it's fantasy because it's certain things that I'm like, oh my gosh, it scares me, and I don't want hands coming out of the floors and out of the walls choking me. And I'm not trying to find out either. I'm not trying to find out, I promise you. But it is reality, like when you see like Uncle Clifford and Lil Murda's relationship, on those ups, those downs, on am I going to be my true self or not? Or when you're seeing this relationship with Keyshawn and with Derrick, how am I going to get myself out of this situation? And you're seeing other people and they're like, how can we help her out of this situation, and being worried about her? It's crazy. It's really crazy, and it's really deep, but it's a good show, and it really just shows you like how life can be. But he saves her from the rain, and they go to a diner, and we see Pastor Patrice Woodbine. That's what we see. And we see her, and so she like, hey girl, like, you ain't finna get nothing else, you ain't finna put nothing else on your plate. Like, you ain't finna, well, not put nothing else on your plate, but you ain't finna put nothing else on this tab, on this white man. And I can't even blame her, because I'm not even gonna say it, but I can't blame her. I'm just gonna keep it real. Like, you ain't gonna put nothing else on this tab, because I know he paying. But, they're trying to figure out if this is a date or not. So here we come across red flag. Like, what is this, number 3 or 4? I think it's the actual number 4, because the other two didn't have red flags with them. But we're coming across red flag number 4, and we see Derrick. He's like, no, this isn't a date, because if we were on a date, I would take you to so and such, and we'd get a snow cone and this, that, and the third. But the area that he is describing is, you could tell like it's a white area, but you can tell like that's what he's talking about. Like, we wouldn't be over here with these black people in this little diner. We'll be over here with these people, and we'll be doing this and that. And so to me, that's a red flag, because I can understand with you trying to bring somebody into, like, well, especially when you're dealing with people that's coming from different cultures, ethnicities, backgrounds, things of that nature. But in your experience, you're showing them your world, and then they're showing you their world. But when you go into a point where a person, like one particular person, just wants to show you their world, but it's just like when you go to a person and they just want you to be wrapped up in what they have going on, then that's not really a good thing, because they don't want to open up to who you are. Like, that's how I look at it. That's my personal opinion. Maybe not everybody else, but just me, and this is my opinion. But that's a red flag. And we kind of sort of see that this red flag, though, this one she does pick up on. And, she's like a little hesitant. So, like, they end up leaving. And we go on to the prom or the dance. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it's a prom or just like a school dance. But we go on to the school dance and we see the sisters are getting ready. Keyshawn eating a bowl of cereal, being in the background. Like she's not there until she's called to come over here and take a picture by her dad. And then we see some weird things going on with her dad and her stepsister. It gave weird predatory vibes, but we're not talking about that. We're just talking about this little situation right here. So I'm trying to keep on I'm trying to keep on track on what's going on with this situation because I'm dragging it out. Oh my gosh. But we next see like a big ah, and it is Derrick. And here he is with a dress and shoes and the whole nine, whatever. Everything fits her. It's all perfect. So when they were in the diner, he was paying attention to, some of the things she liked and her size. He was paying attention to that, and that's a good thing. Like, I'm not saying like these things are good qualities, like him listening, seeming like he cares, like those were good qualities. But once again, it's a sheep in wolf's clothing. It's fake. It's not real. It's to like will you in. Like, he's trying to get her on a hook. He's fishing. Like, he's fishing and he's trying to get her on the hook. He's trying to bait her in. And pretty much that's what it is. And so, like, she's happy. And, like, no key, like, you watching it. And especially if you watched it and you really, really didn't know what was going on, you'll be like, oh, that's so cool. That's so sweet. Oh, my gosh. But, no, it's not that. And, but we do come with this, and this, I'm going to say it's a red flag because with what coincided with what her stepmom said, he didn't let her choose. So he just came in and he bought this stuff and she didn't choose on, like, even if she wanted to go to the prom with him, though. Honestly, he didn't ask. He didn't ask her to say, hey, do you want to go to the prom? And I mean, to come up and show up and surprise somebody, that's cool. That's great. And sometimes people can genuinely do that. But you might want to watch out for it. That's all I'm going to say. You might want to watch out for it. It can be a red flag. It can be. And clearly, as we saw, as everything plays out, it is. But they go to the prom, and we aren't really seeing like which prom they're going to, because we're seeing the black prom, we're seeing the white prom, and it ends up he's taking her to the plantation prom. So that's another red flag. That's red flag like number 6. The plantation prom. I don't know what you call it. Because I don't want to say like a concubine, because that's not it. But I don't know what you call it. But it's like the master son bringing the slave daughter, and nothing's wrong with interracial relationships, but it's just the undertone, because it's the person that we're dealing with. Like, everybody's not racist, everybody's not prejudiced, but we do have people that are. And it's the person. And Derrick is that person. Derrick is that person, baby. Derrick might, want to play around in the Oreo cookie jar, but no, like, and not even the, but you know what I mean. Derek might want to play around, but no, he don't really want to come over here and struggle with the with the black folks. He don't really want to do that. I bet that every day that has been killing him in the inside. He's been dying in the inside every second, every minute, every hour. He's been dying in the inside because of the predicament that he is in and where he is with Keyshawn. And I bet she is too, cause I bet she would have wished she would have went on and went to college, went to Mississippi State, and just be gone with you, Derek. But hey, that's how it is. But yeah, they come in and everybody is looking at them and staring, and so it gets to a point where they're dancing and they're almost about to kiss, and here's this white lady and she comes and like she stops and she like, oh no 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 no, mm 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 mm. I said no no, and she stops them or whatever, and they don't end up kissing. So when they go outside, she like, yeah, and you know that white lady, and so he stopped. He like, oh, that white lady's my mom, and so there you go, and you run across like red flag number 7, and here it is, like we see Keyshawn and we see Derek, and that's a red flag for them to be together. His mom to come and block that, because we didn't see her parents blocking that. We didn't see her stepmom saying, oh no no no, he ain't finna take her to no prom. We didn't see that though. We didn't see that. And I bet that would have been one of the most proudest things for Keyshawn's stepmama, because she's like just as like mentally disturbed and warped as Derek mama is. And her daddy too. Like all of them, like rowing in the boat together. Like they rowing in the boat together to a special little place. It's hot, but that's where they going. They going down yonder. Not up, but down. But we see that, she does not want you to be with her son. She did not want you to kiss her son out there on that dance floor in front of all these people, in front of all these good society people. She didn't want that to be the hot topic, because it's already bad enough, because it's going to be the hot topic because he brought you there in the first place. So that's enough. We ain't going to get to no kissing and all that stuff like that. And so, it ends up snowing, and this is like, it brings you back in. It's reeling you back in, just like when Derek came in and he brought her the prom dress and the shoes, and we're going to the prom, and just like all the other things. It's like that little moment, like where it seems like, oh my gosh, this is just a fairy tale. This is so great because it's snowing in Chucalissa and it's never snowed. And so they end up getting in the car and they end up having sex. And this is the biggest mistake that Keyshawn could have made. I feel like if she wouldn't have had sex with him, I don't know where they would be. I really think like Derek would have went on and went to school, and we don't know where Keyshawn will be, and we don't know what she'll be doing. But I feel like she would be in a better predicament. That's me personally. I don't know, but a part of me just feels like the outcome would have been better for her if that wouldn't have happened. And once again, that's life. Sometimes we make the wrong decision, even though in the moment it seems like it's the best decision, but it's the wrong decision. And so she ends up getting impregnated. So he impregnates her. That's how it seems to me. In that moment, he impregnates her, and then we are back to where we started, like with her being pregnant. They're in the apartment together, and he chokes her out. And he chokes her out. And we are probably going to do a part 2 to this video. So just stay tuned, because I need to get on my other talking points, because I just went off and rambled about the start of the abuse. But I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I hope you guys want to watch the next video. But if you don't, I'm still gonna make it, so whatever. I'm just playing. I do want y'all to like it. Like the video, please, if you did like it. If you did like it. Comment. Because, I mean, really and truthfully, I want to know y'all opinion. If you don't do nothing else, comment. Please comment. Because I just want to know y'all opinions on how y'all feel about it with watching the show. What do you think about it? And subscribe. Subscribe to my channel, please. Shay like the butter.